Welcome, gamers around the nation, to Gamers Nation Hub.
Hello YouTube, and today we're going to talk about a big blockbuster game that came out 2 weeks ago that a lot of you are probably looking up reviews for, even though you know you already won it and are probably already going to get it or know about it. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a mega blockbuster this season. It sold millions of dollars in, I believe, only a day, and the prices are still skyrocketing. Now, for any of you who are just coming here and going through reviews just for the numbers, I'm going to give you guys the number early, the 9 out of 10 score.
Real professional.
Which is a 9 out of 10, not including online. That's going to be a separate review that I'll probably release within a week or two, just because the online still hasn't been perfected, and is still spotty with working, and they're also still uploading things like heists and missions. I haven't been on today or yesterday though, so I heard something like they might have heists now. Not entirely sure, but as soon as they fix that up, I will go on there, review it, and make sure everything's all good, and then give you an honest review on that. It's not fair to review them now on that because of the sole fact that they just weren't ready for it. Alright, now let's start talking about all the things that are worth reviewing and talking about, such as improvements, bad things, good things, add-ons, all things of that nature within this game. First, we're going to talk about the improvements. First of all, the driving mechanics are a huge improvement from all the games. And right now, the main two games I'm comparing this to is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which in my opinion is the best Grand Theft Auto that was made, besides this one, of course. Their mechanics, and Grand Theft Auto 4's mechanics. Now, I think it was a huge jump from San Andreas, of course, years ago, and all. I think it was also a big jump from Grand Theft Auto 4. It feels much more realistic. The tires stick to the ground more. The turns aren't just crazy. You're going at high speed. Some cars aren't gonna drift. Some cars will. Some cars will just flip. And it's a much welcome improvement, and really does reflect more on the whole realistic side of things for Grand Theft Auto 5. The graphics are a huge jump from San Andreas, and a big jump as well, in my opinion, from Grand Theft Auto 4. The animations, the expressions are there more. Although sometimes when I feel like some of the characters should have changed their expression to happy, sad, or mad, they didn't really. But again, it was nothing bad, and it was still a huge improvement from what it was in the old games. And the storyline got a big boost from any Grand Theft Auto I've played. The story is very real and relatable, and each character is very well separated. They each have their own story mode, in a way, that intertwine. They all kind of meet up with each other, and you kind of have to alternate through them to get through the main story, but they all have their own kind of like mini story within it that develops their character very well and goes through, and it's very good, but we'll get more into that later. And then the realism of the game. The game is very real feeling, very lifelike, and very alive. The whole city is just bustling constantly. There's always activities to do and such, but again, we'll get more into that later. The auto-aim system is much less touchy. It used to be very touchy and sometimes unreliable. Would lock onto the wrong target. Now, well, I mean, I've still had situations where it would lock onto a target I didn't want it to, and so on, but for the most part, it's very reliable and would hit the target when it needed to. Sometimes I prefer to play without it, but a good portion of times when I get into 4 or 5 stars, I usually keep it with me. And the checkpoint system within missions is fixed. You will not have to go through another hour drive to get from one side to the other if you fail a mission. You won't have to do really long parts because the checkpoints are at really, really well placed spots. Another thing we're going to talk about is the activities. They have added so much into this game to do. No matter if you're doing the story mode, if you completed it, if you completed the whole game, you're always going to be able to do things. There's always the basic killing, shooting, hijacking cars, robbing stores, killing police, all the regular stuff. But then they add in all this extra stuff with extremely good mechanics, well, maybe not extremely good, but very good mechanics that are enjoyable to play. Things like golf, tennis, racing, hunting, biking, yoga, flying planes, etc. All this stuff, along with the missions and the randomly occurring events throughout the map where people ask you to help because someone stole their bike or their car or their purse, or need you to drive them somewhere or save them from someone who's trying to hurt them. Things of that nature. All this stuff adds up to things to do even well after when the game's over and when you beat everything. The city always has something to do, and if you feel like it, you can do it. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's never really forced upon you at any time during the game, besides a yoga mission about partway through where Michael has to do yoga with his wife and the yoga instructor. Later you find out that she was cheating on you with him, and you kind of go off and... No, actually they just get away. I was thinking about the other time. Her fitness instructor or something like that. Yeah, she was cheating on you with him too, and kind of killed each other. But anyway, I'm not gonna try and spoil too much for you guys who don't have it yet. Don't know why you wouldn't, and if you don't, you should get it. And now we're gonna take a deeper look into the story. First of all, it's awesome. Second of all, it's relatable. Even to an extreme point. You're gonna sort of relate to one of the people. Like if you have some energetic problems, or sometimes you get really hyper and energetic, you can relate to Trevor in a way. He's an insane psychopath, anger-filled pothead. Not the peaceful kind though. Oh no, he does meth, doesn't he? Anyway. And if you have family problems and family issues and some anger management, then, or you're rich, you'll probably feel like you relate to Michael pretty well. Or, if you're a gangbanger, or that, then you will probably relate to Franklin decently. The whole storyline throughout it is funny and witty moments between the characters and between just regular pedestrians as you walk and talk. Things of that nature in all of the characters throughout the game. Especially some of the moments between Trevor, Michael, and Franklin really gives you some laughs. The story mode is also very, very long, which I do enjoy. I don't know the exact amount of hours. I heard from someone 40, I heard from somebody 80. I'm not sure the exact hours, but it's a very long storyline that's very well thought out. And the thing that extends it is all the side missions that you'll probably go on in between your missions, and the random events that occur, the sports, kind of fit in with the story sometimes, and you kind of feel like you're kind of with the story. And like I said earlier, each of the characters' stories and personalities are well separated and well combined. They have them go on their own missions kind of separately sometimes, with just Franklin, or just Michael, just Trevor, or with Franklin and Michael, or Trevor and Michael, or the whole group together. And they do it in well-written ways that really show you their personalities, have them develop extremely well, and show the relations between each of them, and how they like each other, how they dislike each other, what they think of each other, etc. Now, one of the best things I think they add within the story, or my favorite, are those big multi-step missions or heists. When you go on, you plan out a mission or a big robbery, such as the one in the jewelry store, where you all plan out how you're going to get in, what you're going to do, if you want to go into careful or reckless. And in my case, I chose careful and plans. Then you had to choose your team, who you wanted, what skill levels, but then the higher skill levels would take more money. So if you wanted to risk those types of things, or if you wanted to just go for the highest and the biggest success rate. Then you also had to do separate missions around it to get all the materials you needed to do this. Like for example, for the mall thing, you needed to get bikes, you needed to get a truck, you needed to get gas to knock the people out, and you had to do all those different things on separate missions. So it was like a mission to get the gas, and then a mission to get the bike, and they were all very interesting missions, but easier and shorter than most of the missions within the game, all leading up to this big multi-step mission where you're switching between multiple characters to do multiple things, and then the big getaways. Always a very well thing, and I always looked forward to the heists. There was one that disappointed me, where you somewhere in there, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you got a getaway car and you hit it, and then Franklin gets in it, it just kind of switches you to Michael, and it just kind of ends there. He just talks to somebody, he's like, "Ah, heist is over." I was disappointed by that one. Anyway, each character has their own personality, as I said. Trevor's kind of like the antisocial psychopath, killer, insane guy that you would most times go on your rampages with when you just want to kill thousands of people and blow crap up. Then there's Michael, the mid-40s, kind of like midlife crisis guy who has a lot of family problems, some anger issues, has pretty much lost his whole family. And he's one of the people that you probably be doing stocks with, sometimes going on some rampages, going kind of crazy with every once in a while. You kind of find yourself acting as each character as you play. And Franklin's more of the gangbanger mentality sort of thing, but he is smarter than one. And when you do him, I kind of do more of the car stuff, make sure the clothing is cool, and then get into the gunfights every once in a while, but do it with a lot of style, I want to say. Taking very little hits, not staying in the front more, being very strategic about it, knocking people out left and right. And each character is a very well development. Throughout the game, I found myself changing my opinion about each character relatively often. Thinking that, oh, Michael's kind of cool, and then, yeah, Michael's not a good person. Then, Michael's kind of cool. I never thought he was a good person, just for the record. But, like, cool, worth, I don't know. And, the mission variety there. That was one of the coolest things. Even those types of things where it's like, find this guy and kill him. They always added their own twist to it and added new things in each mission. It was never felt repetitive throughout the game. And the things where you have to, like, hijack planes and crash them into each other, or jump out of a plane and watch as it falls into the ocean. Or Michael shoots a plane and then Trevor has to chase it on, like, a motorbike across half the map, watching it fall and just waiting for it to hit the ground just to get some stuff out of it. Or when you have to drive up next to a car so you can shoot into it so your partner can shoot into it while you're driving next to it. These challenging and varied experiences really made the game very worthwhile. Even, like I said, the repetitive missions add their own twist. And now for the fated part that everyone has not or has been waiting for, the bad.
It's me with you. Jesus Christ, good grief. I thought we really bonded, but now I'm having my doubts.
This was actually kind of hard to come up with because there weren't very many bads. A couple of them I was trying to remember because I had them and should have written them down. I think I have them all here. First of all, well, this should not be first on the list, but it is here. Glitches. There really is not many. None of them really caused me to fail missions at all, I don't believe. There was one where I turned invisible, or there's another where my car turned invisible, things of that nature. And when I'd just be walking around and all of a sudden get like 8 stars. Not 8 stars, 5 stars. Don't know why I said 8. 5 stars for no reason. I'm not sure if that was a glitch or not, but I mean, if I'm walking not in a restricted area and I just get 5 stars, it should be. Things of that nature, or when you just randomly will fall down. Another bad thing is kind of like how you jump into a trash can, you're gonna like fall down, just like a rag doll. You have to wait, get back up. I don't consider that's an annoying thing, but I don't. And the cops are too sensitive sometimes about some things too. At one point in the game, I was running, and I just got away from the cops, lost all my stars. I walk out, I see the cops attack somebody else because I guess they're doing crime. There's a shootout right in front of me. I stood there and I watched, and then they killed the guy and they started walking away. I jumped off, the ground was slightly higher than the pathway. I jumped off the ground onto the pathway. Instead of laying on the pathway, I landed on a cop. Cop flipped out, got like 3 stars, and I had to run away. Things like that, way too sensitive. Or if you slightly tap into a police car, get a star too. Way too sensitive for certain things like that. Some people complain about you punch one person, you get it sometimes. I think that's kind of fair. You kill somebody, you know, should get a star. Another bad thing that I feel like probably should be the worst thing on this list is there is not enough cheats yet, or not good enough good cheats. I really was missing things from San Andreas because this is the same place as San Andreas. Things like flying car, every car has nitro, unlimited ammo. I don't remember many others because it's been a while since I played that, but things like that. I really missed the whole flying a car across the city with almost complete ease at extreme speeds. And low gravity does not cut it. You kind of just like float up if you hit something. And your cars are extremely slow because they're not really touching the ground, which really sucks. I really miss those cheat codes. I know they're still finding them, so I'm not going to really use it as a means to take away a score or anything. But that's one of the main points of Grand Theft Auto. I really hope that they find more cheats for it, because if not, it'll be a huge letdown. Because that's just one of the biggest things about Grand Theft Auto. Once you beat the game, just kind of doing every single cheat and just going crazy on the game is kind of what it is. And when you get hit by cars or jump into trash cans or into walls, the way you just fall down and get back up is kind of awkward and annoying. Car runs next to you, your foot touches it, you're gonna fall over, you take a crap ton of damage, then you're like a ragdoll and you just kind of like slowly get back up, and it takes a couple seconds, sometimes a minute if you get hard enough. And it's kind of annoying, especially when it gets hit repeatedly. But again, this is not a really bad thing because it doesn't happen much. The whole repeatedly thing, or the whole minute long, usually takes a couple seconds, so it's not a bad thing. And it's hard to find things to complain about with this game. So with these things being the worst, it's pretty good. The only thing in this list of the bad parts anyway that's even worth talking about is probably the fact that there isn't enough cheats. Besides that, there's nothing bad with this game. So again, I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10 score and official approval. You should go and get this if you have not. It's very fun. And I will throw in, even though the online is going to be its own review later on, I will throw in, as far as I've experienced, the online is pretty damn fun. It's not what I expected, but they're still uploading things, and it is really fun. It's worth going on to create your character, find stuff, and meet people online, and just rob stores in itself. Even though that's not everything that it can do yet, it's worth getting. Just for the game and that, the story mode is fantastic. The mechanics have been improved to extreme ends. It's really worth getting. I highly recommend you go out there and get it if you haven't already. Alright, that's it. See you, YouTube.
You are now leaving Gamers Nation Hub.